Welcome to the Prescott Lab Podcast, not just theory, practical science for everyone. I'm Dr. Jonathan Prescott, and tonight I want to speak with you man to man as though we were sitting across a quiet table, sharing the kind of truth most men never hear until it's too late. Gentlemen, by the time you reach 60, something begins to happen in silence. Your blood vessels, those hidden highways of vitality, start to narrow. The flow slows down, and what once felt effortless in the bedroom now feels uncertain, sometimes even impossible. But let's clear away the lies. It is not your age that steals intimacy. It is circulation, poor blood flow, stiffened vessels, and silent changes you can absolutely fight back against. Here's the hope: you don't need to surrender. You don't need to rely only on pills, surgeries, or costly treatments. Right there in your grocery store, nature has placed 5 humble vegetables: beets, spinach, garlic, tomatoes, and broccoli, that carry extraordinary power. They open your blood vessels, release your hormones, cleanse your arteries, and protect your prostate. Simple foods, profound changes. Before we dive deeper, let me ask something of you. Tap the like button not as a favor to me, but as a declaration to yourself. I'm choosing health. I'm choosing strength. I'm choosing not to give up. Hit subscribe and you'll never miss another conversation designed to keep your energy, confidence, and manhood alive after 60. And leave me a comment. Type 1 if this message speaks to you. Type 0 if you're not convinced. I read every single one because this isn't just a podcast, it's a brotherhood. And my blessing for you is this: may every man who takes action here, who listens, who engages, who chooses these truths find more strength, more joy, and more intimacy than he thought possible. So let's begin. The very first vegetable, the crimson root that fuels blood flow like no other, the beet. Gentlemen, if there is one natural food I have seen breathe life back into men over 60 more times than I can count, it is the beet. Beets may look humble, but inside they carry a secret: natural nitrates. When you eat them, your body converts those nitrates into nitric oxide, a tiny molecule that relaxes and opens up your blood vessels. The very same mechanism behind those blue pills so many men quietly reach for. The difference: beets do it naturally, without side effects, and they don't just help one part of you. They help the entire system: your brain, your heart, your muscles, and yes, the most intimate part of your manhood. I'll never forget a patient of mine, 71 years old. He came to me with slumped shoulders and a quiet voice, confessing that intimacy had become difficult and that his confidence was fading away. I asked him to do one simple thing: drink a small glass of beet juice each morning. When he returned a month later, his eyes were alive again. His energy had risen, his sleep was deeper, and when I asked about his marriage, he smiled in a way I hadn't seen before. "Doctor," he told me, "I didn't know a root could give me back my life." That is the power of beets, and they are so simple to bring into your daily rhythm. Roast them with a drizzle of olive oil. Toss them into salads, blend them into smoothies, or enjoy a fresh glass of beet juice 3 or 4 times a week. With time and consistency, your blood vessels respond. They become more flexible, more open, more capable of carrying oxygen-rich blood everywhere it is needed. When that happens, your body feels alive again. Your mind sharpens, your steps feel lighter, and intimacy regains its natural strength. I often tell men, beets are like fuel for your veins. As every bite sends a message to your body: open up, flow freely, feel young again, and that message can be life-changing. But beets are just the beginning, because while they open the pathways, there's another green that doesn't just help blood flow, it helps unlock the very hormones that drive your energy and your masculinity. Let's talk about that next. Spinach. Gentlemen, when I think about the quiet power hidden in something as ordinary as a leafy green, I think of spinach. On the surface, it's just another side dish on the plate. But inside, it carries a secret every man over 60 should know: it revives your hormones. Spinach is rich in magnesium, and that mineral is a gatekeeper. Here's why. Many men have testosterone levels that look normal on paper, but that testosterone is locked up, bound, unable to fuel their energy or their desire. Magnesium helps free it, turning stored testosterone into usable testosterone. And when that shift happens, men don't just feel stronger in their bodies, they feel more like themselves again. I remember a patient of mine, 68 years old, who came to me worn down. His marriage had cooled. He was irritable, tired, and he admitted he no longer felt like the man he once was. We started simple. A handful of spinach blended into his morning smoothie, sautéed with garlic at dinner, or tossed fresh into his lunch salad. Within weeks, his wife was the first to notice. She told me, "Doctor, he's smiling again, he's playful, he's even reaching for my hand the way he used to." That's the beauty of spinach. It doesn't only touch your hormones, it doubles down. Like beets, it's also rich in natural nitrates, helping to relax blood vessels and support healthy circulation. So in one simple green, you get two powerful effects. Your testosterone is freed and your blood flow improves. When those forces combine, intimacy stops being something you worry about and becomes something you look forward to. And spinach is easy. Toss it into an omelet, sauté it with a little olive oil, or slip it into a smoothie. The secret, as always, is consistency. Your body doesn't need miracles, it needs steady nourishment. I often tell men spinach is not just food, it is fuel for your masculinity. It grounds you, restores you, and reminds you that vitality is not gone, it's just waiting to be unlocked. But hormones and circulation alone aren't enough. Because if your arteries are clogged, if the pathways are narrowed, your body still struggles. That's why the next ally is so important. A pungent bulb that has protected men's health for centuries. Garlic, the artery cleaner. Gentlemen, let's speak about one of the oldest medicines in human history. Not a pill, not a powder, but a simple clove of garlic. For centuries, cultures across the world have trusted it to heal the body. And for men over 60, garlic can mean the difference between arteries that feel blocked and heavy and arteries that feel alive and open. Here's why. When garlic is chopped or crushed, it releases a powerful compound called allicin. Allicin works like nature's cleaning brush. It relaxes blood vessels, lowers cholesterol, and helps reduce the plaque that builds up inside your arteries over decades. Picture your arteries as pipes. With time, fatty deposits line their walls, making the path narrower and the flow weaker. That restricted flow doesn't just affect your heart, it robs your brain of sharpness, your muscles of strength, and your manhood of vitality. Garlic clears the path, letting blood move freely again. I recall a patient, 74 years old, who came to me complaining that his feet were always cold and his energy drained by mid-afternoon. Quietly, he admitted that intimacy had nearly vanished from his marriage. I asked him to start small, a few cloves of fresh garlic chopped into his meals 3 or 4 times a week. 3 months later, he walked into my office transformed. His steps were quicker, his energy brighter, and with a smile he told me, "Doctor, my wife hasn't stopped smiling either." Garlic didn't just open his arteries, it restored his spark. The best part, garlic is easy. A clove in your omelet, slices roasted alongside vegetables or minced into a pasta sauce. And here's a doctor's tip. After chopping garlic, let it rest for 5 minutes before cooking. That pause gives allicin time to fully activate, making every bite more powerful. Gentlemen, garlic is more than flavor. It is protection for your heart, your brain, and your manhood. It helps you live not only longer but fuller, with warmth in your hands, strength in your stride, and confidence in your most intimate moments. But even clear arteries can't solve everything. Because if your prostate is swollen or inflamed, intimacy will still be interrupted. That's why the next ally is so important. A fruit we see every day in the grocery store, bright red, humble, but carrying a secret shield for men. Let's talk about tomatoes, the prostate protector. Gentlemen, let's talk about a quiet concern most men carry but rarely bring up until pressed. The prostate. It's small, hidden, but when it begins to swell or inflame, life changes. You wake at night restless, making trip after trip to the bathroom. Your stream weakens, your confidence shrinks. And in the most private part of your life, intimacy fades under the weight of discomfort and worry. This is where one of the simplest foods in your kitchen steps in, the tomato. On the surface, it's just a salad topping, a soup base, a slice on your sandwich. But inside, tomatoes carry lycopene, a deep red antioxidant that works like a shield for men. Lycopene reduces inflammation, supports healthy circulation, and most importantly, protects the prostate from swelling and long-term damage. I had a patient in his early 70s who came to me exhausted. He confessed that he had given up on intimacy altogether because of his nightly struggles. He was waking 3-4 times to urinate. He felt like his body no longer belonged to him. Together we made small changes, and one of them was adding cooked tomatoes to his meals. Tomato soup twice a week. Pasta sauce made with fresh tomatoes instead of heavy cream. Within months, the difference was striking: fewer nighttime interruptions, steadier energy, and with it, the courage to reconnect with his wife. One day he told me with tears in his eyes, "Doctor, I never thought a bowl of soup could give me my life back." Here's the secret: tomatoes are even more powerful when cooked. Heat unlocks lycopene, making it easier for your body to absorb. So whether it's roasted, stewed, or simmered into a sauce with olive oil, the more regularly you enjoy them, the stronger the protection for your prostate and your manhood. Gentlemen, tomatoes are more than food. They are freedom, the freedom to sleep soundly through the night, the freedom to stand strong in your own body, and the freedom to enjoy intimacy without the shadow of fear. But we're not done yet, because there is another green ally waiting to be discovered. One that balances hormones by reducing excess estrogen, protects your prostate even further, and keeps your body sharp and lean. Let's turn to broccoli, the estrogen balancer. Gentlemen, there is one more vegetable I want to place on your plate. It may not look dramatic, but it carries a quiet power that can tip the balance of your hormones and protect your prostate in ways few men realize. I'm talking about broccoli. Now, most people think of broccoli as a side dish their kids push away, but for men over 60, it's one of the smartest choices you can make. Broccoli contains special compounds, indole 3-carbinol and sulforaphane, that act like internal regulators. They help reduce excess estrogen in the male body. Why does that matter? Because as men age, estrogen can creep upward while testosterone drifts downward. That imbalance leaves you softer around the middle, tired, less confident, and vulnerable to prostate issues. Broccoli helps restore the balance, protecting your manhood at the hormonal level. And it doesn't stop there. Broccoli is also loaded with vitamin C, vitamin K, and fiber, nutrients that strengthen blood vessels, support circulation, and keep your heart resilient. In short, it's not just good for you, it's protective armor. I remember one patient, 66 years old, who came into my office carrying the weight of frustration on his shoulders and around his waist. He complained of fatigue, stubborn belly fat, and nighttime trips to the bathroom. We added broccoli into his weekly routine, steamed alongside fish sautéed with garlic blended into soups. Within weeks, he began to lose the heaviness. His sleep improved, his energy sharpened, and when I asked him about intimacy, he chuckled and said, "Doctor, I didn't expect broccoli to change that part of my life, but my wife noticed before I did." That's the hidden truth. Sometimes it's not the exotic supplement or the expensive treatment. Sometimes it's the humble green that restores balance where it matters most. Gentlemen, broccoli is more than fiber and crunch. It is a hormonal ally, a prostate protector, and a reminder that masculinity doesn't fade with age, it simply needs the right support. Now we've walked through 5 powerful allies: beets, spinach, garlic, tomatoes, and broccoli. Each on its own can change your body. But the real magic happens when they work together, like instruments in a symphony. Let's talk about how they combine And the single mistake too many men make that robs them of these benefits. Gentlemen, we've walked through 5 powerful allies: beets, spinach, garlic, tomatoes, and broccoli. Each one has its own strength. Beets open the vessels, spinach frees the hormones, garlic scrubs the arteries, tomatoes shield the prostate, and broccoli restores balance by keeping estrogen in check. But here's the truth: their greatest power isn't in what they do alone, it's in how they work together. Think of it like music. A single violin can be beautiful, yes. But when the strings, the brass, the percussion, and the woodwinds play together, you don't just hear sound, you feel a symphony. That's what happens when these foods meet inside your body. The beets widen the path, the spinach fuels the fire, the garlic clears the road, the tomatoes guard the core, and the broccoli balances the system. Together, they create harmony. And in that harmony, a man can feel 20 years younger. I've seen it time and again. The patient adds just one, maybe beet juice, and he feels some improvement. Another starts spinach and notices his mood shift. A third adds garlic and feels more energy. But the men who embrace all 5, who make them part of their daily rhythm, those are the ones who come back to me with a light in their eyes. One man told me, "Doctor, I didn't just get my health back, I got my marriage back." But there's also a mistake I see far too often. And I want to warn you, too many men treat these foods like a quick pill. They try beet juice once, toss spinach into a salad once or twice, or nibble garlic when they remember, and then they say, "It didn't work for me." That is the wrong approach. Pills give you a quick fix. Nourishment gives you a lasting foundation. These vegetables aren't medicine, they are fuel. They work through consistency, not experiments. Gentlemen, the body rewards what you do every day. Not what you do once, not what you do sometimes, every day. When you give it steady nourishment, when you keep these allies close, your circulation strengthens, your hormones rebalance, your prostate calms, and your manhood thrives. That's the difference between decline and renewal. Now, before we close, let me bring it all together into one final message. A truth that every man over 60 needs to carry in his heart. Gentlemen, we've traveled together through 5 humble vegetables: beets, spinach, garlic, tomatoes, and broccoli, each one with its own gift. Beets open your vessels, spinach frees your hormones, garlic clears your arteries, tomatoes protect your prostate, broccoli balances your system. Alone, each of these can help, but together they form a foundation of strength, energy, and intimacy that carries a man well beyond 60. I've watched men who thought their best years were over find themselves laughing again, holding their wives again, walking with a lighter step again. They discovered something powerful, that age is only a number, but vitality is a choice. And here's my message for you tonight: you are not broken, you are not finished. Your body is waiting for you to give it the nourishment it has always needed. Start with these 5. Make them part of your daily rhythm. Give your vessels the fuel to open, your hormones the freedom to flow, your arteries the cleansing they deserve, and your prostate the protection it craves. Do that, and you will not just live longer, you will live better. Now, before you go, I want to ask you something simple. Tap the like button, not for me, but for you. Because when you do, you're saying to yourself, I choose life, I choose strength, I choose not to give up. Subscribe so you never miss another conversation like this. Practical science, not just theory, designed to keep your manhood alive after 60. And leave me a comment. Type 1 if you're ready to start. Type 0 if you're still on the fence. I read every single one because this is not just my podcast, it is our community. And let me leave you with this blessing. May you find energy in the morning, confidence in the evening, and joy in the quiet moments you share with the one you love. May your years ahead be not just long, but rich. Because you, my friend, are not broken. You are simply waiting to be renewed.